Welcome, everybody, to the PhDJ Podcast. My name is Mike.
What's up? It's Joe Bunn.
And we have a special guest with us this week. Everybody say hello to Vernique.
Vernique, what's up?
Say
the
hello,
crowd's
Vernique.
going wild, trust me.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Very, very well. I love your smile this early in the morning.
I know, right?
The room.
Thank you.
So we were just saying this before we hit record. Vernique, I don't think you've never heard of Joe or I or the PhDJ Podcast, which is kind of cool. I think you're our first guest ever on. It was like, oh, you guys have a podcast? That's cool.
Yeah, I love that. That means we're still spreading the word. So
yeah, exactly.
We're still doing our jobs.
Right. So let's start with what we call you, because you're talking to two guys with very boring names, Mike and Joe. You can't get more boring than that. You have a cool first name, Vernique, but you also have a cool DJ name, DJ Neeek Nyce.
Yes.
Is that it? So what would you like us to call you in this podcast?
You can call me Neek.
Neek?
Perfect.
I love it, Neek. We will do that.
So you're in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Or was that okay? Because I was watching that news clip and I knew they were in Philly. Well, I love Philly. I've only been a couple times, but it's a great city. Mm-hmm. All right. So walk us back in time, to when you get started. How old are you? Just kind of give us a little bit of background, like what got you into DJing, and then we'll, bring everybody else up to speed about the virtual stuff.
Okay. Well, how I got started with DJing was actually by mistake. So I was dance instructor teaching Zumba, and I used to ask DJs to pre-record my sets. So there was a DJ that I was working with for about a good year, and then obviously, DJs get busy, they're not able to do the recordings, and I asked another DJ friend of mine if he could do it. But when he was doing the mixes, it was kind of shaky, and I realized not every DJ is proficient with transitions and stuff. So I already had an ear for the music of how I wanted it put together, but he couldn't deliver it, which was fine. And apparently he had a party for his daughter, and I jumped on, not knowing anything about DJing. I'm rocking out with whatever music he had on the computer, and his friends and family are like, wow, she's actually pretty good.
Wow.
He saw that within me and just the passion. He had an extra controller and he gave it to me.
Wow, that's awesome. And the rest is history. So how old, were you like in your 20s? Were you a teenager?
This was about 5 years ago.
Wow, recent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because I could hear you playing just on the news clip, and I've heard you play before online, and I'm like, it's like I tell people though, like when I hire DJs, like my easiest people to train, that are really good mixers are drummers, bass players, dancers. Like the metronome is just in your DNA, tick, 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 like you already know. And it's so funny that you say that, because we, get called all the time by these cheer gyms and dance studios, and there's only a few of us that can really put those mixes together, because it's difficult, and it's a gift, really. You have to know the music. Exactly. That's awesome. That's
very
awesome.
True.
Great
and
story.
Yeah, the fact that you picked it up like that just shows, as a dancer, it was already just in there.
It's in their brain.
You just needed somebody to kind of probably show you the technical end of things about how to mix, and then you picked it up. So Joe mentioned the news piece, which we both had a chance to watch, and thank you for sharing that. I loved the story about how you did your first virtual party and how that came about. So please share that with our listeners. I'm going to encourage them to find your news piece and watch it anyway.
Well, when we post the clip, I'll post the link. How about that?
Oh, good. Okay. But yeah, tell us about the first virtual party, because I love how it came about.
Well, before I was featured on CBS 3, about the week before, a previous client asked me to DJ her virtual wedding in person. And I did not know what she meant by that. I didn't even know about Zoom. So she wanted me to come to her house, set up everything, because it was only her fiance, husband at the time, well, husband now, and her 3 kids, and all the neighbors watching from outside. It was a socially distanced wedding.
Sure.
And how I tried to tie the news into it originally with CBS, I invited them to come because the Philly Inquirer was there and NBC.
Right.
But the reporter who I invited, she couldn't make it. and I gave her an update about it. But I streamed it on Facebook and on Zoom. And then I still didn't know the technicalities of it, the feedback issues. So it was sufficient enough that we got it to work.
You got through it, right? Everybody
was able to hear it. The neighbors had a great time, and NBC and the Philly Inquirer featured it. So when I followed back up with CBS 3, I had already did a virtual Facebook event for this pastor. Mm-hmm. And it was a hit. Like after that event, I probably gained over 1,500 followers.
Oh, wow.
They've had over 30,000 views on that 2-hour virtual party for this pastor. And when I brought it to CBS 3, they reverted the whole story, not based around that wedding, about how I'm reviving my business. Because right after that Facebook stream, people were hitting me up left and right. Hey, can you do my virtual event? Can you do my virtual Facebook party? Can you do my Zoom party? So just ongoing from there, just from that one stream, I've gotten a lot of business from it.
So Neeek, what you're saying is we can't believe everything we see in the news. I think that's what I think that was the point of that story. fake news.
It was a background to it, but they didn't get the wedding part of it, and it was fine. But they just, featured.
Well, I particularly love the story of, what was he, a 75-year-old pastor?
Yeah.
And the fact, and listen, and any of us who have had a birthday in this quarantine, which means a month from now, that will mean everybody, has had to figure out a way. I mean, my birthday was last April, and my wife we did a drive-by. We had friends driving through our driveway here, and then a month later, my wife's birthday, and I had a few friends like socially distanced in the backyard. So we've all had to figure out a way to celebrate things, and I just love that this pastor was turning 75, and they brought you in to Zoom, and from the clips they showed, you literally had people dancing.
Oh, they were rocking
kitchens and living rooms, and it was super cool.
Well, actually, for that party, I did it on Facebook.
Oh, you didn't see them?
The clips of the members sending it into the church.
Oh, like what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a Facebook party.
Right.
After the Facebook party, I've done like 2 Zoom parties. I think they've seen with the YMCA. Those were actual Zoom events.
Yeah. That's what I did that last Friday for a corporate event. So it was more of a vibe thing, but there were 200 people working for 4 hours with me on in the background. And so I'm scrolling through, 6 pages of Zoom tiles, and people are literally at this, it's one of the biggest video game companies in the world, just sitting at their desks at home working, just kind of nodding their head. And I was like, hey, it's a different world, but it's a gig, So I'm a huge fan, and I love that you did this, of reaching out to like local news. I've been on the Fox News here multiple times talking about the Grammys, like the day after, kind of giving my input and stuff. So that was all done by you, right? You're your own PR person. You reach out to them, you send them an email. Is that kind of how this story? I mean, the real backstory is that you went after that, went after to get on the news, correct?
Yes, I've been on the news 2 years prior. I had another feature about aspiring young kids and girls how to DJ.
Perfect.
So I've already had a relationship with one of the reporters, and I've connected with her to get featured again.
So can you back us up 2 years ago? How did that connection start? Did you reach out to them? Did somebody reach out to you? Was it a coincidental thing, or were you proactive about it?
No, I was volunteering for a career day at a middle school, and she was one of the featured presenters. And when we were sitting talking during breakfast, I told her about who I was because I looked like a student. They didn't even know that I was a presenter.
You do look very young. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Especially to these 2 old men right here.
But when I told her about my profession being a DJ and then how I teach young kids, she just was in awe about it. She said, wow, that's actually really cool. Is it okay if I follow up with you for a story? And I said, absolutely. So we exchanged information. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, she reached out to me directly and said, I would love to feature a story.
You know what's great about that story? You were volunteering. That's it's a great karma story. If you hadn't volunteered your time, you wouldn't have made that connection. So,
exactly.
Great story.
Super cool. Super cool. So you offer webinars about booking Zoom parties, and you cover the technical end of things, everything else, right? Now we're recording this for the people who are going to listen Thursday morning. We're recording this on Tuesday. You have one this evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so tell us about, if our listeners want to either or see it this evening or see a future one, how can they find out about tonight and how can they connect with you?
So for tonight's webinar, I only offer it for a smaller group because I want it as intimate as possible where I can connect with my audience. But as far as moving forward, if I have enough interest that wants to reach out to me and take my webinar course, then I wouldn't have a problem hosting one in the near future. Perfect. As long as I have the interest.
So is tonight booked up already?
Yes, it is booked.
Nice. That's great. Perfect. Selling out is a good sign when you got no more seats available. That's, I've always said the nightclubs with the line in front, they could be empty inside. But they keep people out because when you drive by, you go, oh, there's a line.
I need to be in that line.
Sorry, that's an old reference to when people used to go to nightclubs.
I remember that.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, but what we'll do, Neek, when we post the link, we always put it on our socials, and there's like a PhDJ podcast discussion group and such. Maybe we'll just put, is there a link to it, like for the next one, or should they just shoot you like a Gmail, hey, put me on the list kind of thing?
Yes, if they reach out to me directly via like the inbox, I then can...
Or socials, okay.
Yep, then I can see if it's worth having another one for next month. So
Perfect.
My goal is, if I can host one once a month, it's more so to educate the DJ community that you can book virtual events, but not even just booking it home. You can take this live at a wedding reception and offer the streaming services to your clients because they can cut down on their list and have their friends and family, especially the ones who are out of town, watch it from home.
Watch it online. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We will definitely post your contact info, though, when we post the link so that people can reach out to you. Couple quick tips, if you don't mind. Throw out a couple or at least one freebie. If you're DJing on Zoom, you must do X. Like, what is one or two things you got to do on screen?
For DJing a virtual event?
Yeah, virtual event on Zoom in particular. What is a couple audio wise, not necessarily like we're not going to look like you. Let's just be honest. Let's back up from that and then more on the technical end of things. Like give us a good tip or two like on the audio, I guess, more than anything.
On the audio, first and foremost, always check your sound before you start your event.
Smart.
That's number one key because I had people, I told them exactly what to do. They set it up. It wasn't right. Their event is 5 minutes later. They're like, oh my God, Neek, but I did something wrong.
Panic.
So always double check your audio.
Yep.
But what I learned about Zoom, especially as a Mac user, I do not have to have an iRig. I literally can plug my USB cord into the same device that I'm DJing on. They will get the high quality audio from my board and my microphone.
That's what I do. I do the same. I have that same mixer. And when that literally shows up as a drop down option in Zoom, that DJ, the SX or whatever that is, that's exactly what I use. You do the same way I do it. Yep.
Yes.
So you're going directly from that system into your computer.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
I open up Zoom, and the other thing behind it, I recommend having a second device because this is the main computer I'm DJing on. So I'm not going to keep going back and forth from Zoom to my DJ program to look and see the crowd. So usually my camera, I have like a separate laptop facing this angle, and that's the one that people will see me DJing on. The one audio computer, I usually have like a black square. I don't even show my face.
Neek, let me ask you this. Do you use that feature, turn on original sound? Do you use that feature on the audio settings?
What do you mean by turn on the original sound?
There's a setting like in the deep audio settings on Zoom, and it basically kills all like their echo cancellation, noise cancellation. So it's literally called turn on original sound. That's my tip. And it gets rid of like when you really start playing that like underwater sound sometimes that people hear as a guest.
Oh, are you talking about like the low? It's like the low.
It literally, like, it'll, once you find it in the like when we get off, like, look on Zoom, go in the audio preferences, and you'll see it like as a little box, like an on-off switch. It'll show up if you click it as enabled. Okay. And so you click it, turn on original sound, and it basically kills all their like sound processing that Zoom uses for talkers, if we're talking, and lets you use like a high quality mixer. That's just my little tip. I don't know. Try it sometime. Like A/B it, to like send a link to a friend and be like, listen, like, let me know if this makes any difference. Like, a lot of times it's helped with mine if that gets that kind of underwater type sound. Anyway.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay. I think the reason why I probably don't have that problem because when I DJ for my live events, everyone is muted. I don't even.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Mike, anything else?
Neek, one of the ways that Joe and I kind of are on different ends of the spectrum as far as DJing is Joe is very much a mixer, speaks on the microphone, but rarely gets on the dance floor. Whereas Johnny V, right? That's our connection. Johnny V is way like on the spectrum. Joe's here, Johnny V's here. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, drifting towards Johnny. As far as, I prefer to be on the dance floor a little bit, interacting with the guests, maybe leading a line dance, that type of thing. From the news clip that I saw, you look like an interactive MC. You're very animated. You're very vocal on the microphone, but that obviously could have been 5 seconds of a 2 hour that they chose. Where on that spectrum, if I'm describing it correctly, do you think you fall?
I'm probably all of the above. I'm the mixer. I can be an MC, and I'm definitely a dancer.
So as a previous dancer, you'll get on the dance floor, you'll interact, Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You look like that from the clip.
Yeah.
Mike is so jonesing to hire you right now. he wishes you in New Jersey. He is actually interviewing you to come work for Elite Entertainment right now.
I was trying to be subtle.
Yeah, you're real subtle.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, she travels. She'll go anywhere.
Actually, we do get our fair of a share of leads in Philly. So I'm not looking to hire you, but I'd be happy to refer you if I ever can accommodate one. Because you seem like that type of entertainer that if somebody's looking for Elite, they would probably be. That's the name of my company. They'd probably be very happy getting somebody like yourself. MC, great mixer, but also somebody that can
do it all. DJ do it all.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Neeek, let me ask you a couple more quick questions here. When the world resets, do you think that this kind of sticks around? The virtual parties stick around?
Absolutely. I see it ongoing because although everyone gets vaccinated, I still feel like there's still some fear there of people wanting to go to events in person. So it's another alternative that I'm offering within my company and within my DJs, that I'm training them how to do virtual events because this is the cheaper option.
Yep.
We can't afford to pay for us to come in person and put our lives at risk, then go virtual.
Yep, absolutely.
I think it's when we get back to normal, my prediction will be it becomes sort of like you described, Neek, where you have a room full of people, but also you're zooming for the people who couldn't make it, the people who were either on that B list that the bride and groom couldn't fit into their room, or maybe didn't feel like flying up from Florida or wherever. You can have two, and the way you do things technically, you could DJ for 100 people in this room, but also stream for maybe 30 people watching that weren't able to make the trip.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah. I don't have any other questions, but I did want you to definitely shout out like your socials, where we can find you. If you're, if there's a night that you're always playing online that people can come watch, like tell us how to find you. Tell everybody how to find you.
Well, you definitely can find me on Facebook as Vernique Fields. I also have a DJ page, DJ Neeek Nyce, for Facebook, IG, and Twitter. My name has 3 E's, so people get it mistaken for putting 2 or spelling nice with an I, but my name has a Y.
Yep.
I want to give a shout out to my female DJ company and all the kid DJs that I teach. I also have a kids DJ community called the No Chaser International Kids DJ Cafe, which we have a page. Sooner or later, I'm in the process of moving, but I will be starting my virtual DJ battle with my kid DJs.
Nice.
And man, the viewers, they love it.
Yeah. Yes.
They love it. The way that the show works, they usually battle me, and it's about testing their music knowledge. So,
oh man,
I
that's
call
even
the show,
better.
The choice is yours. So all the viewers who are tuned in, they can give suggestions of a genre we have to play for 5 minutes, and they vote on who rocks the crowd the best.
Oh man,
that's a great idea. I love it.
I do too.
What age kids are you?
Yeah, I was
doing?
about to say, what do you mean by kids?
I'm talking about 16 and under. My youngest kid is seven or 8.
And so a genre might be like Motown from the 60s or disco from the 70s. And these kids know that stuff, huh?
That's the part of the challenge is if you want to compete with DJ Neeek Nyce, you should know all different kinds of music, and it's also testing them.
Yeah.
Even myself, there was genres on there I wasn't that proficient with, but another kid beat me.
I love that. That's awesome.
I want to check that out. That's very
cool. That's a great training exercise for anybody that
it really is.
DJ company. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Neek, this has been great. Mike, any other questions for her?
No, thank you very much for coming on, Neek. I appreciate it. When we drop this on Thursday, I'll be sure, because I know I connected with you on Facebook, so I'll tag you in the post. So any of our listeners that want to connect, you'll hopefully see a bump in some friendship requests this week.
There we go.
And I would love to invite you to, if you would like, to join my webinar tonight, just to get a glimpse of what I'm teaching and what I'm proposing for that.
What time is it tonight?
What time?
It's at 7:30.
So even though you're sold out, you'd squeeze us in?
I definitely will.
Send me a link. That. I think I can check you out.
Me too. Yeah. Mike, you forward it to me.
Yes, I will.
Well, everybody watching live, thank y'all so much. Neek, you're awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
And by the way, the way Neek and I connected was Neek is trying to speak down at DJ Expo in Atlantic City. And so I connected Neek with the DJ Times people. I put in a word for you, so hopefully we'll see if that means anything. But I will definitely be there in August, so hopefully we'll meet in person. And
I would love to meet you in person. Yep, I will definitely come up to New Jersey if they have the expo, and we will definitely. No. I mean,
this year we're on.
It's happening. Okay, I will see you in Atlantic City.
Is going to be on in June. Atlantic City is definitely going to be on.
Okay. Anyway, I'm seeing y'all in June. And I'm in August. Fingers crossed. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Tune in next week. Mike, do we have a teaser for next week? I guess that would have been my job.
Next week would be yours. So I don't know. I'll file it back to you. Do we have a teaser for next week, Joe?
No teaser
hurry up.
next
Text Richie Stedman. Richie, give me a topic.
Not sure what we're talking about next week, but it'll be amazing. Tune in next week, everybody. Thank y'all for listening.
Neek, thank you so much.
Thanks, Neek.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.